All right,
Hello.
and here we are once again for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely episode. We're in the 90-something. I don't fucking know.
Like
I stopped paying attention after we crossed the 80-episode threshold. But anyway, I am here, of course, with my lovely and beautiful co-host, Allie. How are you doing today?
I'm good. My day was pretty chill. I
That's
didn't
good.
really do a lot.
It's a really nice shirt. Who gave that to you?
Ooh, I don't know.
No, but in all seriousness...
Miss Queen Lizzie Olsen.
Yes. We are here, of course, to talk about the last complete week of the Circle, because we do still have the finale tonight. But this is the last full week and everything like that. Lots to talk about. Lots went on for sure. They're very unpredictable, I would say, for the most part. But we are going to get into all of that. But before we do have to introduce our guest co-host and also our guest for this episode. We're going to start with our guest co-host here. Always enjoy having him on, talking about the Circle. Here he is, Mike.
Woo!
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
It's, great to have you on.
You fucking straight people in your PDA shit. I swear to God.
Anyway, as our guest, someone that we always enjoy getting her on. She always gives really great insight whenever we talk about these reality shows, and it's great to have her on once again. Here she is, Kaci.
Yay!
Hello. It's great to have you back. Before we do start, of course, I know you said before we started this that you've been a really big fan of this season, so it goes without saying how you feel. But we want to hear, what have you been thinking of this season overall?
This season overall, I think it started off at a great start. We had some really good personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yumin, is that her name? Oh my gosh. Min Lee.
Yuling.
Oh my God. Not Min Lee. Yuling. Okay.
Not that. Not Min Lee.
Not BB Can.
This is a season that actually ended Kaci, not one that ended abruptly.
Yeah. She was a firecracker. They always kind of start off with the firecracker, but she is the fire and the cracker.
Oh yeah.
She's all of that. Loves her. Spice Girls, all of that stuff. It's been really good. I feel like the players have been playing very hard. There's still a bunch of I'm just gonna be myself kind of bullshit, which is fine. But there's a lot more game being played and a lot more strategy. And the more we have seasons of that was when we really start to get to see some really good gameplay. And I think we're getting that this season for sure.
Yeah, I think I've said it before, but I think this season has actually really benefited from the slower pacing. I think we've gotten to know these players a lot more. And I think, we had it's led to a lot of blockings in 1 week, but I think a very exciting week because of that. It feels like this was kind of like everything that we've been building up to. And I think this was a very exciting week for sure. But
and the safety chain,
oh my God.
I'm excited to see that they want to put these things in to make the players really strategize. They are building towards making a really good game. And I'm excited for it.
And this is the way to do it. I think that the Circle is a perfect example of a show that they always had those chips in play to become something great. And I think they finally got there with the Circle USA. I think they found what works. And I think moving forward, this is exactly what they need to do. Find those things that can shake up the game. They've done an amazing job with that, but also find those personalities that we'll enjoy watching.
I think this season is just so good in that sense. They're not game body. They're actually they're very strategic, but they're also really showcasing their personalities too.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yes, lots of personality, honey.
Yes, which we love. But anyway, we're going to talk about everything that goes down this week, starting with...
Also, we have a guest today.
Starting with episode 9.
We're right here.
Well, you're not a guest. You're a guest co-host because you're on every week. But
everyone's a guest.
Let me just quickly go to the right document because I was open on a document for season 3. So this is the second time. This is the second time this has happened. I did this last week with Survivor. I opened up a fucking thing for Survivor 41, and now I do it with the Circle for season 4. I promise this is not intentional. I'm just stupid. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start off talking about episode 9 here. So you know, the way we left things off last week, Brew had this very tough decision where he knows he's in this very tough predicament because he has to now choose between Alyssa and Carol. And after carefully assessing, he does decide to stupidly pick Carol here, meaning Alyssa is immediately blocked and must leave the circle. Let's talk about this decision because I am of the opinion that this was not a good decision for Brew.
I will say, like, on one hand, I do think it was a big move, but like on the other hand, I'm like, she definitely had his back, and she would have been more beneficial for him. And like, I literally was so sad because I thought she would make the finale.
Yeah,
I have a very like hot take with this.
Of course.
So I think Brew blocking Alyssa was actually a better strategic move for him.
Okay.
Why,
I want to talk next. Okay, I'm just gonna say
why
I
think it does kind of pertain to what happens next.
Yeah,
but I think because of who Alyssa was in jeopardy with, I do think blocking Alyssa would have did buy him around.
Okay.
Because like people were already catching on to John. People were already were like speculating that Carol's a catfish, and they wanted to get Carol out next anyway. So I feel like by keeping that person in as a shield, I think it bought Brew an extra round.
I agree. I do think that either way, either one of them, I think that they were a shield, Alyssa or Carol. Yeah. But I think that with Carol, like everybody knows that's a catfish, and you're gonna choose them. I mean, it's called the circle for a reason. Like, who are you keeping in your circle? I think that Alyssa, one, really could have just recovered because she had really great answers the whole time. No one really saw her as a catfish, and I think that she could have gotten a little bit further, and maybe could have helped him out more than just like a shield for one round. I think it could have been a potential one. I think he really made the wrong social move here, which we'll see how that kind of plays out.
Yeah. For me, like, I was just very baffled by this decision. I feel like Brew, this was a very, yes, it's seemingly hard because there's two people that you're working with, but when you see how much that like Carol's become this like social pariah of sorts to the point where like nobody really wants to interact with her, everybody wants her out, it's like you got to just kind of let her go at that point. And I feel like his best path in getting to the end was Alyssa. Alyssa was never going to turn on him. We saw even after him blocking her, she was not bitter. So like this was his way.
She was so nice. I would have been like, good luck. I would have been petty.
Yeah, no, literally. Like I was very shocked by that. We'll talk about that, of course. But I just feel like his path in getting to the end was Alyssa. I think that was the person that was probably going to stay the most loyal to him. Didn't see him because I've said this throughout the entire season, and I think you'll agree, Kaci. I think Brew's biggest problem in the game is that no one's really ever considered him as like their number one ally. So he's gonna have a really hard time getting to be an influencer.
Other than Alyssa.
Other than Alyssa, and I think keeping Alyssa around definitely would have bought him at least a spot in the finale. But unfortunately, that's
he's always been like very middle of the road.
Yeah, and I also think that, you know, like you said, I think Alyssa could have gotten herself out of this a lot better than what ended up happening with Carol. We'll talk about that. So everyone seems very confused, as are we, unless, you know, everyone's mostly confused by this decision, specifically Trevor and Yuling. John feels his fate has now been restored with Brew after this. And Alyssa's upset to see that her alliance completely fucked her over. Can't believe they actually did it. I felt really bad for her here.
Literally from start to finish. Like,
one second you're in what you think is like this super powerful alliance, and then they just like turn on you. So I really felt for Alyssa in this moment.
Same.
Brew felt with you.
I am Brute.
Picking someone he felt the throuple wasn't as loyal as he thought it was, and he was being used. And if Carol was in his position, that she would have picked him, which I mean, I guess that makes sense. But like, if you're mad at Yuling, I don't understand why you didn't just say
would Alyssa.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and she's gonna pick you every time, sir.
Yeah. So They then are given an alert that Alyssa is on the way to meet one of them now. So she decides to go see Bru, and he's sad to see her and says that he feels so bad. They discuss what the whole virus situation was about, and they both wonder what exactly happened with Yuling and why she turned on the throuple so quickly, and both feel that they got played. They discuss how they think Carol is a catfish, but don't exactly care, which, as I said, is refreshing. I like they didn't care about that because they have shown...
because it doesn't matter. Why should it matter? It doesn't matter unless it's affecting someone socially.
Yeah,
because that's what the circle is about.
Yeah, I hope having players like Alyssa and Bru in there that like really don't give a shit about it will hopefully like stop the whole, oh my god, they're a catfish, we gotta target them because like
I think so.
That's kind of the point of the show, though.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun element to the show. But the show would be just fine with or without it. I really think that, you know, this whole thing with the safety chain, I definitely understand why Yuling picked Rachel, because she was in this 3-person alliance, and she knew that like either Bru or Alyssa would be picked way before Carol, and they could just cut Carol there. I think Yuling made the right decision for her game, but I just think Bru's an idiot.
Yeah, I agree. I said last week, I feel like
right now.
No, I agree with you. I think that Yuling had to make a decision, and she picked, it was either an alliance where she felt like she was kind of like not really being heard and was kind of just like, you know, someone that was being dictated what to do, someone who didn't have as much agency, to an alliance that fully respected her and could get her to the end. And I think that in the end, I do think that it turned out to be the right decision. So for me, I think this was like, if there, you know, obviously there's no jury in the circle, but if there was, this would be like Yuling's like game-winning move.
Oh, they're all the jury trying to vote each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's crazy. Yeah. Which is why having somebody that has at least a little bit better of a social capital in the game is who you should want to stay, not the person that everybody wants out. Like, literally everybody but you, apparently.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Basically, like, Yuling is really only working with Rachel because of Frank. Like, she's not, like, they're just kind of, like, friends. They aren't, like, super close allies.
But it puts her in the middle, kind of, between what would have been Bru and Alyssa, Frank and Rachel. She wins the game right there. I think she did the right thing. I just think that Bru really cut her chances as far as winning at the end, in my opinion. I don't think she's
Bru
going to.
Bru definitely fucked up. But so they flirt back and forth a bit. She asks him for his thoughts on Frank, and he says he came in and he loved the vibe and felt that they would be great friends. But once he got the question about the Mr. Nice Guy thing, he hasn't really known how to feel. They then talk about Nathan and how good he feels with him, and she tells him to hold on to the people that he knows are loyal, and he will do great. And I don't know if that's going to work out for you, Bru. I don't know if that's the greatest advice there, but I
wouldn't be taking advice from the chick that just got voted out. No.
Yeah, right?
No, thank you.
Promises they can still open mouth kiss at the end. After meeting her, he collapses on the floor, upset at what he did. Can we talk about the fact that, like, since this season, Bru now has a girlfriend? So, like, all of this is, like, been misleading. Like,
he's been, like, basically leading them on.
Pretty much. Oh. Well, no, because I think they got together after.
I wouldn't say that, because, like, this filming happened ages ago.
Probably
it was like
September,
ago. October.
True, yeah.
It was in sometime in the
fall. Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving was probably on Thanksgiving.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
So like maybe he didn't then. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I think it was genuine. I just think it's really funny that they've been like pushing this, and now we know like he has a girlfriend, so it's all like
I honestly don't follow him. Never really did.
I didn't know that until like I read an article and then said like and then talked about how like he's had a girlfriend this entire time. So yeah. So everyone's surprised how okay she is with Bru taking her out. And Carol then thanks Bru for saving her and talks about how Alyssa has told her she had so much trust in so many different people, yet nobody chose to save her. And Alex feels the shade Alyssa's throwing is very much directed at Yuling, which it very much is.
Yep.
And
God, I love Alex.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Me too.
And we do get this message that the news feed has been updated. I did skip a note here, and Alyssa leaves behind a voice message telling them that she has been 100% real and honest and hasn't told a single lie. Her game plan was to be extremely strategic and take note of everything, and she feels that she managed to do that and also made some great friends along the way. And she doesn't fault Bru for the decision that he made, however, is upset that she had built one strong connection within the circle, and that's done a bit, and she tells them to expect the unexpected because they may think they know who their alliances are, but that can change in an instant. And I was a big fan of Alyssa this season. I loved how strategic she was. I loved her taking notes. I think that she definitely had a potential to win the game, and it was a very good move to take her out, just not from the person who took her out.
Definitely do like really well on like Big Brother or Survivor.
Yeah,
I would love to see her on Big Brother. I think that just maybe seeing her interact with people will bring out more of her personality. Yeah, I didn't have an issue with her on the circle. I think that she really tried to play the game and was one of like the top 3 or 4 that are actually trying to play strategically. So I appreciated that about Alyssa.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, big fan of Alyssa's game overall. But Yuling then brings up how strong her connection with Alyssa is and that she wanted to save her so badly. And Bru seems quite pissed at her, knowing that they had such a strong alliance, and Yuling decided to save someone who came in a few days ago. And Bru admits that Alyssa came to see him and how they ended things on such good terms. And Yuling then brings up how she was hoping Alyssa had more people on her side and doesn't envy him for his decision. And she very much throws the shade back onto Bru. And John does something really idiotic here. He brings up how much trust has left the group and that this makes everyone's blood. And this seems to make everyone's blood boil, which is like, John knows at this point that he's like at the bottom. He needs to just like do what he can to just like make everyone feel good. Like don't say shit like this that's gonna get you targeted. Like this was not the right moment. Yeah. What are you gonna say, Mike?
I just didn't want to interrupt the conversation, but I can confirm that the circle was filmed in October.
Okay, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so
yeah, I know this because it's no secret to the audience, at least, but I am friends with Alex outside of the circle.
Oh, really? Are you? I didn't know this.
I've known Alex for a couple of years, almost 2 years now. I also happen to know that his girlfriend Nikki ran a marathon during filming, and it was one of his like message boards, but he has like a sign in the background.
Yes, I did hear about this,
and he like gave her a shout out for that marathon.
Dope.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I did hear something about that, so that does sound about right. But basically, yeah, like I said, this was just not a good move from John at all, because Yuling says that they are all hurting after what happened, and regardless of the decision, it does not in any way define who is or isn't trustworthy. And I would agree with that. I think that Yuling was put in a position where she had to make a decision, and she just did it. And I don't think that makes Yuling untrustworthy at all.
Everybody felt that sort of thing. Like, who do I save? Like, everybody feels that.
Exactly.
And also, like, I just want to say the amount of times, like, Yuling, like, every time I think that, like, people are going to vote her out or that they think she's a snake, like, girls
she always turns it back around.
She's staying. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, she has played a phenomenal game and does continue to play a phenomenal game.
Really good socially. I think I'm not sure strategically. I think keeping somebody like Carol in the game, like, is good if you're trying to win at the end, because they're not good votes.
Yeah, that's probably her only real mishap, is being so adamant about I need Carol out of here when it's like
because of the catfish thing.
Yeah,
I can't tunnel on that. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, John as Carol says that neither she or Alyssa had to make a decision, and it would have been interesting to see what she would have done, but she didn't get the chance. Which again, like, boo-hoo, like, I don't really see what the big deal is here. But Alex looks at his board and sees how there are 2 new players whose connections are completely up for grabs right now. I love this, like, bulletin board that Alex has of, like, all the connections with, like, the strings and things like that. It's just, like, it's, like, a genius strategy. Like, and that's not something that I would ever think of doing. So, like, the fact that he's
so
like,
good
gone as far as to do that, like, the fucking king, honestly.
It's incredible.
I'd love to be able to visually see the strategy. It's hard to see it like in his perspective, but I bet if you're sitting there and you're looking at that board, all day, every day. I wouldn't even have it hung up. I would have it like on the freaking table in front of me, looking at it all day.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense in his head, and it looks like that meme, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yuling invites Brew to a private chat, and she brings up to him how brutal last night was, and she knows how heartbreaking that decision was to make. And while Alyssa was in their throuple, it was just as painful for her to see her go. She says while they both may have been shocked, she was really banking on the ripple effect, saving those she cares about the most. And she was so confident he would save her, and she wants to gauge where his head's at and what he's doing.
Oh, it's still...
He is not pleased with this message because there was this possibility she didn't get saved. And he tells her he thought the throuple was the strongest alliance in there, and when she picked someone other than him or Alyssa...
Oh, I didn't know you could hear that.
His trust in the alliance becomes in question, which is why he ultimately decided on Carol, and she questions where Rachel came from. And she makes up the lie that she chose Rachel because she thought she would be most at risk since she's a new player, and he doesn't buy any of that and felt that saving her closest people was the only way to go about saving her closest.
Oh, saving her was the only way to go about saving her closest people is what I think I meant to write there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's glad she's still here, and she says she understands where he's coming from, and she tells him she felt she did what was right in the moment, and she's glad he's here too, and she wants to hopefully repair the broken bond between them.
Which I think she definitely does. I think that was definitely something that, like, she came into the week and she's like, I want to make Brew feel as safe as possible. And I think she does a pretty good job with that because Brew's, like, not as upset with her after this conversation. So.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah.
What are we talking about again?
Oh, it's a conversation between Yuling and Brew where, like, she kind of, like, reiterates why she did what she did, and he's actually, like, seems like he wants to, like, kind of work with her after this.
Once again, this is just her deflecting, in my opinion. Like, I think she definitely feels stronger with Rachel and Frank, considering what just happened.
Yeah.
But she's still keeping that number close in case she needs to, which she does.
Yeah.
But she does a great job at it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I also think she did personally feel a little bit bad because I think she generally does respect Brew as a person. So I think she did.
Oh, she does.
So, yeah, I will agree with the deflection thing, though. I think that was definitely, like, part of it.
After this, he feels there is a chance to repair this and for a bit of his game, and she feels him opening up to her shows he trusts her.
Yes.
They then play a game called Fast Food, which I'm going to say this was actually really funny.
Yeah, this was a funny comp. And normally, like, this is something I complain about. But this, again, this is such an entertaining group. Like, seeing them do anything is, like, fun to watch.
All these games were, like, actually, like, they had strategy to them, not just...
This one was just kind of, like, fun. Like, there was nothing really crazy about this one.
This one was so funny.
Yeah.
There was still some strategy though, because if you're Mama Carol and you're running just as much as Brew, like we have a problem.
But yeah, no, that part does definitely include
that's a catfish
because of the walking.
They will take part in the Circles Fast
I
Food Race.
forgot about that.
They will take part in the Circles Fast Food Race, and they are divided into two teams. One is Team Eggplant and Team Peach.
Yes.
They will wait. I thought it was Apple.
They're nasty for
no,
doing
it's
that.
Peach.
No, it's Peach.
It was Peach.
Oh no, I think Kevin thought it was Apple at first.
I thought it was an apple. Yeah.
Oh boy, are we surprised?
It's pretty close to what it is.
It looked like it though. I mean,
not even.
Well, because of the stem. Like,
Casey, this is who won our experiment season.
I'll just.
I mean, they do kind of sort of.
We did it. We got him finally. Revenge.
Anyway,
I kid.
They do reveal individual results, but they will remain anonymous. However, Frank is suspicious of what looks like Carol's results, and Team Peach does take the win.
Yeah, I mean, again, John did not do a great job here. He tried, definitely, but I feel like Frank did a better job with, like, not running as much. Like, Frank was literally sitting down, which I thought was really funny.
That would be me too, honey.
I just thought it was so funny to watch.
Yeah, it was a really fun comp. But there definitely was strategy because of all the steps they had to walk, and especially if you're a catfish, like if you're Alex and you're trying to be this like really like muscular frat boy, you can't.
What's an eagle?
Just, like be running just like a few miles, like you have to really like put effort into that. And I think he did a good job. So yeah.
Rachel invites Imani and Yuling to a private chat to hopefully connect and just have a little fun. Trevor is excited to be in here knowing that Yuling is such a strong player, and Trevor, as Imani, brings up how much he is bonding with Eversen and feels he is someone Imani would gravitate towards.
Yes.
Yuling asks if her or Rachel need to play matchmaker, and Trevor, as Imani, brings up how Eversen and her already had a chance to talk, and she likes where it's going, and Rachel then asks Yuling how the chat with Nathan is these days because she loves it, and Yuling brings up how close they become, and they all support each other with love advice.
And I just want to say, like, honestly, like, hats off to Trevor. Like, the way that he's come into the game so early on, like, no, so late in the game, and has been able to make such strong connections that I honestly think could potentially give him a win, is so impressive. Like, I think that you can tell he got the tips from Delisa, and he's just fucking killing it. Like, no one has any suspicion.
He's got the women on his side. He's got Eversen. Like, he's got a lot going for him, more so than some other players. Like, well, mainly Brew, but
I think he's probably one of the best players that came in late, because most of the time those intruders like don't really have much of a chance, and that is very far from the case with Trevor and also Eversen. Like, both of them are doing a good job, I think, in different ways, but really finding ways to like make valuable connections that are going to get them to the end. So
yeah.
Good on.
I don't want either of them to win, but they're doing great.
Oh no.
Rachel brings up how lovely all of the guys are, but she hasn't felt that pull yet, and Trevor, as Imani, says she knows no one in the circle comes looking for love, but she likes a nerd and someone who knows how to work a computer.
This is a good moment for Rachel, I thought. I got a little insight into her.
I like she's actually like really grown on me as a player. Like, I always liked her as a person, but like player-wise, she's just very like she's very smart, and she's just very social.
Kaci, I know you've been a big Rachel stan. I've seen you on Twitter, so
I do like Rachel. I think she's gonna win, to be honest, because she's not like overly social or overly strategic. I think when these final ratings come into play, like all of these top players, like a Frank or a Yuling, are gonna be put at the bottom, and then maybe like a Nathan or whoever, an Eversen or an Imani are gonna be put at the top. But I think Rachel, like, if she just needs to like maybe kick it up just a little bit extra at the end here, when there's no more blocking to be worried about, and I think she's good. Like, I think she's got a really good potential here.
Rachel's another one where it's like there were so many times where like we were like, oh, Rachel's probably going, and she's still here. And I think it's just
I never really like I felt that maybe one time, but I think that well,
she's like a very like under the radar kind of player.
Yeah, but I think she's got it.
Yeah, and I think her brutal honesty has definitely helped her a lot. Like, they know Rachel's never going to bullshit them, so I think that's something that she's done a good job with.
Yeah.
So
Rachel says she is very fluid in her sexuality, and it's really about a spiritual and emotional connection.
Yes.
And Trevor loves how well she's been able to pull this off so far. I just really like this like conversation.
Yeah.
It was just like a really nice, wholesome conversation.
Yeah,
I think what
weird thinking about it from Trevor's perspective. Like, I guess he's still getting his feelings across in a way. But like for Rachel, she could be feeling like she's just talking to the girls and letting them know about her sexuality, and that's where it's like a blurred line, I think, for me. But at some point, you have to know that that's a potential. So.
Yeah. And I also think and I did watch something about this, and I would agree. I think what Trevor's doing really well is like he's had a lot of women friends. He knows what he would want a woman to say to him, and he's saying that as Imani pretty much. So it's like that's why it's going so well for him. It's like so I think that's why he's doing as well as he is.
Yeah. He's doing really well for coming in late.
Like I said, like one of the best intruders.
Was James ever doing this well? in his season. Just
Okay.
like that one came out of like left field. I think
No,
it was
literally,
season-
I'm still shocked. I'm
was it
still
season
shocked
three?
to this day.
I
his
mean,
last season.
I liked him, but yeah, he just, I don't know, he didn't do a lot.
That's why it
James
was
was
so
in a
bad for me.
position.
That's why I'm saying like Rachel could win because of people trying to change their stuff, and then somebody in the middle there wins.
So James, for me, I feel like was in like a really strong like social position and things like that, and then he made that one like really stupid move with Jackie, and I just like counted him out after that. And then he somehow won. So you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Eversen invites Carol to a private chat, and he says that during the photo leak, someone accused her of being a catfish, and he loved the way she handled it and how much he appreciated how she spoke up about being true to herself. He wanted to save her last night, but it had to be a group decision. And they bond over Carol recalling a fake memory about her going to Italy, and they reestablish how much they trust each other. And this was actually a good moment for Eversen.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think both Trevor and Eversen are doing a good job of like keeping keeping themselves around. I think what Eversen's doing a good job with is he's not trying to play the game that hard. He's just vibing pretty much. He's trying to have fun.
Like he's definitely like, he was trying to obviously just have fun, but I mean, at least he's making a little bit more of an effort, which is good.
Yeah, he's just being social. He's making the connections that he needs to, and it's working for him. I think for Eversen, like he knows he doesn't really want to be strategic. I think he just kind of wants to have fun, make those valuable connections, and I think that's definitely working out for him now. Is he going to make the end? I don't know, but I think he's done a better job than I thought he was going to, and I also just like him as a personality.
He's a great personality.
Oh yeah, his like positivity is like infectious. It really is.
Yeah.
So
he's just always so like positive.
yeah, exactly.
Trevor bonds with Frank, and they shift it into relationship talk and how they feel being single. Yeah, and then this episode ends with something really funny.
Yes.
Yuling invites Nathan to a private chat. Starting with just 2 emojis. It leads up to them basically sexting.
I was like, circle, you're not gonna like we don't need to see this part of it.
I know.
This is like we can see some flirting, but when we're sending sexy pics and stuff, like let them have their time.
This is like basically when that episode ended with Calvin and Kay.
Yeah, but the difference with that is that it was like mutual between them. This was like Euling initiating it and Alex being like,
this is
I don't want to do this, but I have to.
Her sexy vibes to Nathan. Right. Well, I mean, after Nathan sent that pic, she was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then she wore that same outfit like the next time I saw her on the
circle. Yeah, she did.
I loved it. Alex is very cringe while Yuling wants him to be obsessed with her, and he thinks she has a circle boyfriend now.
Yeah, this was just hilarious. Everything about this I loved, especially Yuling thinking that Nathan's like super into this and things like that, and just really going for it. Meanwhile, Alex is like, "I'm sorry, Nikki." like you can see he was just
like so hard for him to say.
Yeah,
I'm sure for that, but also because like it's so weird to be sexting with somebody else and not yourself, especially on like a reality show.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I felt that cringe for
Nikki
sure.
Honestly, Nikki was probably just dying of laughter.
It was very awkward but very funny to watch. I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, our favorite musician who used to be classical but now plays rock. Did we see that? Did you guys see that?
No.
She posted it on like her Instagram story that I guess some article. They put some article out about Alex and they mentioned Nikki. And like they show like a picture of her Instagram and her bio says that, and they like posted it thinking she was actually a musician when it's really a School of Rock quote.
Oh, that's funny.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Great.
Like I saw her tweet, and then obviously I saw her Instagram when Mike told me.
Really funny.
All right.
Also, while we're still on the conversation,
yes.
Nikki is also like in Orger and stuff. Like these two, we met them through minis.
Yes.
And Kevin's the one who actually told me this tidbit because I've never actually played with her. She apparently can also be just as much of a villain. So as someone who knows that kind of like strategic end of it and knowing those two being the great game players that they are, I'm sure Nikki was here for it. Yeah. I can't speak on her behalf too much because obviously I'm not her. Yeah. But like, she's a girl who gets it. And the girls who get it. And the girls who don't.
Yeah.
True.
For sure.
I mean, we could see her in a season of The Circle, I'm sure.
I would love to.
Me
They're
too.
bringing Trevor back. Like, I'm all about a good villain, and if they also happen to be a woman, hell yeah, because we're hated anyway. So,
yeah, no, Nikki's a fantastic. Like,
we're not taking birthrights away from fucking men, are we? No.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to The Circle.
All right, getting into
on the next episode of A Cabinet with Kely. The politics spinoff.
This episode starts with Eversen wants to bond with everyone, and he creates a chat with everyone and to give them a taste of the cruise life. So he calls it Circle Cruise.
I love this. This was so much fun.
He could have called it a cruising for a bruising.
Oh my god.
That'd be funny. He makes them do a scavenger hunt involving them having to make animal noises based on the item they find, and John wins this.
Yes.
Kevin's favorite challenge.
Shut up.
Hey, scavenger hunts are a good comp.
Yes.
I wasn't talking about, I meant the animal sounds.
Yes.
I'm exposing Kevin really quick. That's one of our inside jokes.
Yes.
Or as Kevin likes to call them, that. Or as Kevin likes to call them, drunk hiccups.
Yeah.
He then makes them do a clothes challenge where they have to put on 7 additional layers of clothing in the fastest time.
Oh, wow, another org comp.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking when watching this. I was like...
Literally. But also,
I bet Alex is like, we have this in The Circle too.
Yeah.
And then Rachel wins that one.
Queen.
Yeah. I was about to say, with the amount of button-down shirts I know Alex wears, I felt like that would be like his competition to lose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, pro tip. If you're doing a clothing comp like that, button-down shirts, shorts. It's your way to go.
Yes.
I have done that for any competition I've done for that. Second and third at best, every time.
Yes.
I don't try because I don't care enough to do that.
I was about to say,
usually it's too early on. I can talk myself out of it. You know.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure we did that in the experiment too.
I've got like 14 articles at most. So
it was the first veto in my season of BB Disney, and I got 18 in second place.
Oh, wow.
Oh God, don't remind me of that.
I think my highest has been like 13, 14 around there.
I think I might have. Oh no, I don't think I could. I was gonna say I might have used the veto on you to be funny, but I couldn't leave Lyndon on the block.
I would have appreciated if you did, but anyway, we're not talking about BB Disney. We do love BB Disney though, but we're gonna continue talking about The Circle.
Season 7 soon,
hopefully.
Yes. Frank then makes a chat with Brew, and at first the conversation is very general, talking about the previous blocking and whatnot. And then, however, it shifts to Frank opening up about his positivity and that he lost both of his parents when he was young and has learned to appreciate every day he's been given, and him noticing that energy means the world to him. And Brew loves how much he's opened up. And Frank talks about how this solidifies the bond they had since day one, and he's always had a level of respect for him, and it has increased after this chat.
I love how much Frank just lives his life vicariously, doesn't try to let a lot of things get to him, just really tries to stay positive in the game. I think that's a lot of what's kept him around, and seeing the hardships that he's gone through, it makes a lot of sense. And this was just, I think, a really great moment for Frank overall, just really seeing him open up.
Yeah,
getting to know him a little bit more as like a person. #Ray of Sunshine.
Yes.
Because he is Like that's somebody that I like if I saw him in person, it'd probably be getting brunch and drinking a mimosa at some sort of like drag brunch. You know what I mean? Like, I fucks with Frank.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. It was just like a really like sweet moment, and then it was just amazing that like he opened up to him like that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it was to Brew, but
yeah.
I know, right?
When you feel it, you're feeling it. So I understand.
It shows how fucking genuine he is, you know? It's like
very
he's
genuine.
just so like positive.
Yeah.
Brew after this feels completely different about Frank and how hard it was for him to share that with him and how much it means that he did.
Yes. Not that it would have mattered because again, Brew's never gonna get to be an influencer anyway, but like it really shifts his stance with Frank a lot.
Can I just say he's looking very beautiful in this episode?
You're not going to get to see him much longer. I hate to tell you. But
no. Why? How come?
I don't know. We'll talk about it.
I just changed Mike's name.
Put her backstage. Circle, put her backstage.
Okay. There, you're backstage.
Apparently, I'm her now.
Well, you're the one who said it, so I'm like, you know what? That's going to be your name.
Yeah.
All right. Trevor makes a
God, it's brutal out here. Yeah, guys, fun fact. That's who Olivia Rodrigo wrote that song about was Brew.
Stop.
He's tall, too, so it's Brew tall out there.
Yes, he went on his radio show and wrote that song.
God, it's brutal out here.
A great song. Alyssa from the Circle.
Yes, that's you. All right.
Trevor makes
What's your favorite movie? Mine's Broody and the Beast.
Stop.
Trevor makes a chat with Eversen, and as Imani flirts with him a bit.
Yes.
And then
isn't Brew that guy who tries to steal the moon from Despicable Me?
Oh my God.
I don't know. No, that's Gru.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They then receive an alert that it's time to rate each other from 1st to 7th.
Yes.
And obviously, we only get a couple. Rachel puts Yuling at 1, Nathan at 4, and Carol at 7.
Yes.
Dawn puts Brew at 1 and Frank at 3. Alex puts Rachel at 1 and Frank at 7. Frank puts Yuling at 1, and then Yuling puts Brew at 2. Eversen at 6.
And number Brew, I mean 2.
And then Trevor puts Frank at 2 and Nathan at 5. Which are pretty easy.
Yeah, not much to really say here other than it really does show that Yuling made the right decision in keeping both Rachel and Frank because they literally have her at number 1. So. So Nathan then invites Rachel to a private chat to really reaffirm the trust that he's built with her. And he then thanks her for saving him during the blocking and how he owes her one. And she says she's got him and today has been going okay. And luckily so far she knows who her people are. And she tells him how much she is here for whatever is going on between him and Yuling. And he brings up how close they are and that they are both his number 1 gals and brings up how she feels about the new players. And Rachel brings up how much she likes Imani and how appreciative she was of her speculations about Carol. And they both agree how little trust they have in Brew and also feel that he's way too trusting of Carol overall. And again, I think this was a good conversation between Nathan and Rachel. You know, Nathan, Alex really banking on the fact that Rachel is his number 1 at this point. I think he's done a pretty good job of that, even if I don't think it's necessarily reciprocated from Rachel. I don't think she sees Alex as her number 1, but I think he's done a good job in definitely keeping her, as closely to him as possible. So I think this was a pretty good conversation. But Yuling and Imani then chat a bit, and she talks to her about her sexting with Nathan last night. And then Trevor, as Imani, brings up how she had a similar session with Eversen, which was not nearly as oh my God, how did they show this as it was with Nathan and Yuling? It was just like, Eversen's in the hot tub and Trevorson as Imani. That's their shift name, I guess. Trevor as Imani is like, let me join you. Like, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was still fun to watch. So Trevor feels this is confirmation that he is playing a pretty solid game, which I would agree. He is playing a pretty solid game, especially for someone who came in so late. So they receive an alert that the official rankings are in, and they are as follows. So we have Carol at 8, which again is not really too surprising here with the way things have been going for John lately. Nathan at 7, Brew at 6, Eversen at 5, Imani at 4, and then Rachel is at 3. And our 2 influencers, of course, are Frank and Yuling. And immediately they received a alert here that it's time for the influencers to go to the hangout to make their decision. And they're then told that this is not going to be a normal blocking at all, that they're actually going to have to choose 2 players to save.
Juicy.
2 will then be at risk of being blocked. And I was thinking about this. We have literally this season only had 1 real blocking ceremony, which I think is really cool.
Yep.
Like, it really shows like how much they've like twisted the game up and like really do something different. We've only had 1 traditional like blocking ceremony where it's like, you know, they really like, talk things out. And I appreciate that a lot. It's a good way to, again, keep things fresh.
I really like it, honestly. Like, this season is just very, like, it's so different and great.
Yeah. So for his first pick, Frank does pick Rachel. Yuling then saves Brew to hopefully let him know how much that she does have his back. And for his second pick, Frank then picks Imani. And finally, Yuling does save Nathan. You can see that Alex was stressing a bit, meaning it's now between Eversen and John at risk of potentially being blocked. And each of them then have to make a quick plea for survival. And Eversen makes a plea saying that he understands how difficult it is for them to make this decision since he was in the position not long ago and their chemistry made him immediately feel like a part of the family, and he's had an absolute blast. And then he hasn't had time to make as many connections. He is not in any way ready to leave. And then we see John's plea as Carol. He says that this game has been incredible and has built great relationships with most of them. And everything she has said had come from the heart. She knows this is a game and sometimes that has gotten in the way, but has always remained authentically herself every step of the way. And regardless of anything that's been said, they have all had a glowing impact on her. And she loves people and this game and really has so much fight to give. I think both of these were really solid pleas. I just think with John, again, like, throughout most of the last couple episodes, it's kind of felt like he's just kind of felt defeated, taking his foot off the gas a lot because he knows he can't really do much at this point. So I think overall, both of these were pretty solid pleas, but we then get another nice little twist here where they receive another alert that Eversen and Carol must go to the meat room to await their fate. What did we think of this twist overall? I don't think they've done something quite like this before, so
I thought it was like really unique, very intense, juicy. It was definitely like a really cool twist in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So,
and obviously that's the end of episode 10.
Yeah, definitely. So we get to episode 11 here. Very eventful episode considering all that does go down. We see John and Eversen meet each other face to face, and Eversen is shocked to discover who Carol actually is, and they both then introduce themselves to each other. And Eversen talks about how convinced he is that Carol was real, and John says that everything he said was him, but he knew as a 24-year-old nobody would believe him to be like that, so it was just him as a person. He brings up the conversation he had with Alyssa about spicing up his marriage after his mom. Another very awkward conversation that was really funny to watch this season.
So funny.
And Eversen said he felt a real connection to his words, which is what mattered the most. And they compare notes, and John brings up how much it frustrates him that Yuling didn't save Alyssa, but believes that she's real. And he assures Eversen if they both give him the chance, he's going to fight hard. And Eversen feels he has a debt that needs to be paid with him just saving Frank last round. Again, I like this interaction a lot. I thought it was an interesting way of instead of getting the traditional, they're going to go see someone face to face. I thought this was an interesting way to really, see these two bond. I liked what they ended up doing there. So I thought this was kind of a fun little twist.
Yeah. I like that a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Frank and Yuling both seem unsure what to do. They are excited to do this together, but know how difficult this decision is. When discussing Carol, they both agree she has been an excellent player, and her plea tugged at their heartstrings and was open about the mistakes she has made, but they aren't sure where to trust her at the moment, which is understandable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yuling brings up how she thought she made her mind up, but that plea was really strong, and that while she does feel she would be loyal if they did save her, it may look questionable to their closer allies.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. If she saved Carol after everything that just happened and be like, what the fuck?
With Eversen, Frank brings up how much of a ray of sunshine Eversen has been, and that he saved him immediately after Frank saved Yuling.
Yes.
Yuling says that while she hasn't had a chance to connect with him, she feels loyal to him because of him giving Frank the antivirus, but is hesitant due to him being a new player and could potentially flip where his loyalty is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is understandable for sure.
Yeah.
After deliberating for a bit, Frank and Yuling do make their decision and decide to ultimately block Carol, and John is obviously devastated.
And here's the thing with John, like the first week was so fucking impressed by him. I was like, he's doing a great job as Catfish. I think he's one of the best that we've seen. But I think he just couldn't keep it up. I think it got to a point where
I think he overplayed the whole hashtag mama in the circle Carol. You know, like we get your mom. If you're rebranding it, like they noticed that he was branding it.
Yeah.
If you keep bringing it up and putting it in people's face, like I'm gonna clock you.
Right.
I think he just got really comfortable after that. Like Parker vote was basically thinking like he was going to be sitting pretty, and he just didn't he didn't try quite as hard as he did. I think that first round.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
He didn't let people know his loyalties or whatnot.
Like,
so
he was doing so well until he got caught.
Yeah. I think until up until the whole thing where Crissa happened, I think he was in a pretty decent position. But once that happened and he kind of just like turned his back on the girls, it was like, you know. So disappointing player, I would say. I was really liking him the first week, but I don't think he delivered as much as he could have.
Yeah, same.
But still a very fun personality, and I did enjoy watching his game. But
he's a very like genuine guy.
Oh yeah.
Like I actually enjoyed him a lot.
Yeah, I think if he played as himself, I don't know how much better he would have done. But
yeah,
I think
it's like in a way, like with Parker and John, I feel like if he played as himself, he probably wouldn't have done it as well, but Parker would have.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I think it's also like what Kaci said. Like he definitely, he definitely was really pushing the like Mama Carol thing too hard. Where like he just needed to be a lot more like him, like genuine and like down to earth than he was. And I don't think he did a great job with that. Like after a while, it felt very fake.
I know, that's true.
Like we get it. Your mom, Mama Carol. Mama Carol, that's definitely a catfish. Hello? Like that's why people thought that Melissa or whatever her name was last season was a catfish because she was the older like mom.
Oh yeah.
I
think it kind of played into it, but stop saying that, sir. Thank you.
I fucking hated that twist so much, but that's a whole other discussion.
Last season was not good.
Michelle robbed.
No, but again, this is why I do think Brew blocking Alyssa where he did was smarter because the inevitable happened the next round anyway.
Right.
Understandable. Yeah.
And then something happened the round after that probably wouldn't have. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think if Alyssa had stayed, there was just more longevity for both of them.
At least one more round, I think, for him, which is almost to jury or circle-y or whatever.
Yeah, circle-y. I'm gonna use that. It's they made the circle-y.
Made the circle-y.
Yeah,
the mayor of circle surgery.
Circle Rosa.
It's weird because there's like no like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no like name for it. It's just like the block players.
Yeah.
Yuling feels like she has been campaigning against Carol for the better half of her game, and now that has happened, it feels pretty terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that. It's like when you're so adamant about going for this person, and you finally go for them, it's like fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Before he leaves,
what do I do now?
Right?
Yeah, but you don't want to play second banana though.
Yeah.
Before he leaves, John tells Eversen that if he gets a connection with Brew, he is someone that has people's back.
Or should I say second Brew Nana?
All right, let Alyssa speak.
He also tells him to watch out for Yuling with how disloyal she has been and how willing she is to flip.
Eversen definitely, like, to his credit, he definitely does take these words to heart. Like, he definitely changes up his gameplay. But after this,
oh yeah, he hopes he is losing to the winner, and John does feel he has played the game he wanted to with integrity, and he left it all out there, and he's just bummed to be going home.
I don't think he's losing to the winner. I will say that. I don't see Eversen winning. Possible, but I just don't see it. I see Eversen getting like 4th or like 5th. That's right.
I do too, honestly. Like, I don't see him winning.
Yeah, middle spot.
Eversen, meanwhile, returns to his apartment and hypes himself up knowing he has survived.
Yes.
The next morning, everyone gets an update from the news feed. John leaves a message saying he's Carol's son, and he says he loves heart-to-hearts and get-to-know-you conversations, but as a 24-year-old guy, it kind of comes across as disingenuous. So he says he's been more real than a lot of other people there, and that if they thought they made a genuine connection with someone, to double-check that because they might be talking behind their back, and he loved getting to know everyone and wishes everyone the best of luck.
I just found out John. I don't know where John's from, but apparently John went to college in Connecticut.
Oh wow!
Right there where we went, actually.
He's from Jersey, so I mean, he's in fucking like Hoboken, New Jersey, which is not far from me.
I'm probably gonna butcher this, but he is alumni of Quinnipiac.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I know that college. Quinnipiac, yeah, that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah. It's like right up this. It's really close to where Seb goes. It's like really close to SCSU.
Okay.
We went there. I went there twice.
Yes. We stand.
I had to leave the auditorium.
Yes, but you know we're not gonna we're gonna leave this conversation and circle it back to
Circle Block Junko. Bye. I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back anyway.
All right.
Have fun. Woo! Yeah. Alex hopes that with this, it will take some heat off people looking for catfish. A circle chat opens up and Brew immediately brings up how he knew Carol was a catfish, yet felt John was still genuine with him the entire time.
Again, not something that's good to say right now.
Like, hey, we all knew Mama Carol was a catfish, but did we think that our mom in the circle was a 24-year-old named John? Like,
no.
Drew's not very smart.
Don't say anything, because with the message that John left, you might not be able to trust people.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Brew just doesn't understand the strategy or any strategy part of it, which is not really telling. No.
And to his credit, Brew does bring that up later on, which we'll talk about, but did not play well.
He's not good at strategy, not good at social. He's just kind of there for the entertainment factor.
Fun personality, but
he flamed out. Yeah.
He really did.
Rachel brings up how sweet John seems, and she knows it was tough. They all agree how shocking it was to see John. And Brew makes a chat with Frank and Euling. He wants to open up to them and hopefully seal some kind of deal. He brings up how many deep conversations he's had with both of them, and they are like family to him, which is why he feels the closest to them.
Which this was a really nice conversation, I think, with the three, especially now Brew, Frank, and Yuling being the only OGs. I think it's a nice little conversation.
Isn't that interesting?
That's not what usually happens, which is cool.
After seeing the second phase come in, which is Rachel and Alex, we start seeing these OGs disappear.
Yeah.
Which is why I think one of them are gonna win, but probably most likely Rachel.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would put money on it. I wish I could put money on betting for reality TV.
Right.
I definitely would.
Here's the thing. You called Kevin winning BB Can so fucking early on. So I will not.
Did I?
I will not
I knew it. I knew he would.
I will not dispute it at all.
Because I said I thought it was Kevin and Gino, and you're like, no. And I'm like, all right.
Like, I don't know.
I mean,
we'll see.
That's completely different. But at Final 5 and on, I did not think he was going to make it to the next round.
Yeah.
Until he did. It was amazing, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, Kaci knows her shit when it comes to
He does.
So, like, I will definitely not dispute that at all.
Oh, yeah. This now gives Frank some understanding of why Bru had such a strong bond with Carol, and Frank brings up how close he was with his mom, and now he misses her daily.
Yes.
Yuling brings up how in her past, her blood family may not have understood who she is as a person, but that's why her chosen family is such a huge part of her identity, and she feels that bond with both of them heavily, which this was just a sweet moment.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely, I think something they've done a really good job with on the Circle this season, and like, you remember this, Allie, like season 2, I remember when we did a podcast with Andrew and Chrissy, and Andrew was talking about how like the players, he couldn't get into them because only one of them had like a personal sort of story. And I think they've done a good job with this season is this is a strategic cast, but they all have these like little personal stories to them. And I think they've done a good job with showing those more like important conversations, you know, hearing these things about Frank and, you know, how hard of a childhood he had because of his parents passing away, or and hearing about Yuling and her maybe not being quite as accepted by like her own family and having more like a chosen family, like stuff like that. That's what I want to see, because it makes me root for these players that much more because they have that like emotional attachment, you know? So
I love that a lot.
I mean, I like the emotional stuff. It's fine, but I like call somebody out. Let's start some drama. Let's do something crazy. Like, what can you do to flip this game upside down? Because you need to, kind of thing. Like, that's my favorite part about these games.
Oh, I agree, but I like
they're always so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, we need that too.
I'm saying if it was just that, I don't think it would be as good, and I think that's why this season has worked so well, because we've had a nice blend of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all seem to really appreciate this chat and how much they're all going through.
Yes.
Bru feels they are family after this, going as far as to name their chat Fran Bruling.
Which is just a really like funny, wholesome name.
Yeah.
So anyway, we talked about the more, you know, Kaci just brought up the more cutthroat stuff. Let's talk about this game, Portrait Mode. Because this is where things get really exciting. They're each going to be painting a picture of someone. And I've said it, they have done such a better job with the games this season. They have affected things a lot more. And I feel like this was one of the best we've seen yet. I definitely want to see this come back at some point. We start off, and some of them are just very basic. We see Frank paints Eversen, really just a picture of him being a cruise director and welcoming everyone. Not really much to say there.
No.
Yuling then paints Bru, paints a picture of an ice cream flavor called Strawberry Rhubarb, which she's trying to get him ranked high. Very much just like a strategy thing, nothing crazy going there. But this is where things get interesting. We see Bru paints Rachel, and it's a picture of her spilling the tea, pretty much saying that, like, you know, she's the one spilling the tea to everyone. I don't think this was that successful. It was like, she's like, you know, Rachel was basically like, there's a lot worse things that could have been said. So I don't think this was like a huge one to talk about. We see Rachel paints Imani, which is just a self-portrait of her. And then Imani paints Nathan, which is a picture of him kind of getting called out for not being 22. This is really the first instance that we see, besides the safety chain last week, of Alex being called out as a catfish. And I didn't think he was going to, after what happened with the you know, with the safety chain, how well he was able to get out of that situation. But this was crazy. Like, I was not expecting it to get as messy as it does for him.
I love it. It's so great.
How much this worries Alex, because he's like, oh shit, have I not done as good of a job with, like, you know, portraying myself as like this 22-year-old? Like, I thought this was a really great moment for sure. Nathan paints Frank, which is this picture showing him how much of a snake he is and a backstabber, which he wants to make everyone believe that Bru did this, and he will then block him, which this is such a good episode for Alex all around. He was like, Alex is like the villain that we need. Like, I absolutely
told you.
He's like a villain, and he's just like so smart, and he's so strategic.
He really is. He really is.
He's playing the game, right? Like, people are like, oh, I'm gonna draw like the cutest thing for this person? How about we not? How about we draw snakes? Let somebody know that they're a monster.
Are we talking about this? Sorry, I went to the bathroom.
Yes,
we're talking about the snake drawing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this is iconic, and this might be a callback for some of you here.
Mm-hmm.
So in the mini I played with Alex, Alex indirectly did something similar to this low key. In the pre-jury rounds, he spread a rumor that he played a game with somebody before and they were a super snake.
Ooh.
And this caused us to we believed it. The reality is none of us had met prior, obviously.
Yeah.
But we believed this rumor that I believe Alex did spread, and the person actually ended up getting eliminated this round over it. It was really
cool.
It was funny to watch something similar to this happen again.
Didn't Yuling had something painted of her as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that one.
Okay.
Eversen paints Yuling literally as a fucking monster who's going to eat everyone else up, fake flirting and backstabbing people, which he hopes is going to put doubt in her. And this is what I like about Eversen in this game. Is that, again, he's really he's playing the game and he's being just really social. But then there's this more strategic side of him that comes out that nobody's really seeing. And I think he's doing a good job of that because nobody really thinks that Eversen did this. And that's why I think this was very successful. And you can also see just how much this worries Yuling with her being depicted as such. So yeah, it got pretty messy very fast, and I was very much here for it. So
it was so good. He actually is really proving his game.
Yeah. So after this, Yuling pretty much only trusts Frank, and she believes that actually Nathan is the one who ended up drawing this, and that he could potentially be some 40-year-old man, which I thought was pretty funny. So Rachel makes a chat with Imani, and she talks to her about how brutal that game was and how much her head is spinning. And as Imani, he brings up how crazy things get when the game is anonymous, and that things went from 0 to 100 real quick. And Rachel brings up to Imani that Yuling has had her back, especially with her saving Brew first last night. She had no idea they had that close a relationship. And Imani seems to feel that someone had it out for her, but they both solidify how much they have each other in the game and that they need each other. And again, really good conversation with Trevor. I think he's done such a good job of getting someone like Rachel and Yuling in his good graces. I think, again, most of the time, we see a lot of these intruders coming up short. And I think the fact that, Trevor was able to get in with people like them so early on, I think it's just really working out well for him. And I'm honestly very impressed. I just wish that he would have been in a lot earlier because the work he's doing now is just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
If he goes in the second heat or the second wave, I think that he would have a really good shot at the end.
I think so too. But I will say, imagine a reality in which both winners are
Trevor.
Both winners are Trevor. Yeah, that's so funny to think about. And
I know.
I feel Delisa and Trevor are already seen as the circle couple. But if that were to happen, it's
oh, that'd be so good.
Circle couple.
I would honestly be here for it.
I would be too. I
wish he would have came on last season though and won.
We desperately needed Trevor last season with how just not great that cast was. But we have this season to make us just completely forget about that. That very disappointing one. But Brew makes a group chat with Eversen and Imani, and he has them play 2 Truths and a Lie about his radio career. And Imani then does the same thing, further flirts with Eversen, which Brew is very much here for. And this was so funny with them flirting in the chat while Brew is right there. And Eversen brings up how he used to be over 375 pounds, and everyone congratulates him on the weight loss, which I thought was a nice little reveal. That's not something that we heard about before. So I thought that was definitely interesting to hear about.
Yeah.
But then we get, I think, really the highlight moments of this episode, potentially one of the best moves I think that I've seen in the circle to date, where Alex makes this chat with Frank and they talk about each other's portraits, and Frank tells him to not let it get him down. Very general stuff at first about like positive vibes and things like that. And then he brings up how he's been avoiding Frank because Bru told him early on that he was someone to watch out for after blocking Paul, despite having a group chat with him, which here's the thing. This is not really a lie. This is something that Bru says. It's just Alex makes
it's timing.
Alex makes it a much bigger deal than it really was. So he brings up how Bru questioned his priorities and he feels that he let him sway him too much. And he's sorry that he misjudged him. And Frank is very upset about how this, especially knowing he lied to him, and tells him that it was literally the second day and none of them knew that. And this gets Frank to think that Bru is the one that drew the snake photo. So Alex's plan is working like perfectly. This is exactly
it's amazing.
This is exactly what he wanted to happen. And Alex tells him that Bru didn't mention any of that to him, and he feels terrible. He's been holding on to that. And despite trashing him, Bru did say these things, and he hopes that this will divide him and Bru, who he feels is less beneficial to his game than Frank. And my God, I mean, this move was just masterfully done. I feel like he did it at the right time. He knew that Bru is someone that is probably going to be ranked lower than someone like Frank, so he knows he needs to get Frank on his side. And I think that he really pulled it off here. I was very impressed by like what Alex did here. I think Alex is a player where I feel like a move like this we knew was going to come. It was just a moment of when it was going to happen, and the fact that he was able to execute as perfectly as he wanted to. I mean, I was just really impressed by what he did here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was so impressive.
I mean, he's just gaming his list, and that's something that I'm curious about is like, when do they start gaming it? And I guess when you start feeling in danger is when you start,
I think so, yeah,
flipping things around a little bit, and maybe I'll put Bru at the bottom while Bru's putting me at the top, and maybe I'll bring down like Frank and Yuling. I think towards the end is when you really start gaming it a little bit more, but this is definitely the time. Alex recognized that, hey, I was on the bottom this last time with Carol, like I'm gonna go, and he put his thing down, flipped it, and reversed it. I don't know.
It was the Uno reverse card that we needed.
It wasn't it was a good move for sure, but it's not going to majorly put Alex higher up in the circle lists. He's still on the bottom, which is concerning for me, but I think he's got a good shot at getting further.
Yeah, he does.
For sure.
And that was actually the end of episode 11.
Yes.
All right, getting into episode 12.
Which I will say, not a lot to talk about with episode 12. A lot of it's just like stuff we usually see in like the penultimate episode of the Circle, but still some good stuff.
Is this the Thanksgiving episode?
Yeah.
Okay. There's lots of good stuff in this one.
Before we get into this episode, I do want to thank Kevin for finally spelling my last name right on one of these.
Oh yeah. You're welcome. I ended the trend.
Oh yeah. I counted. I believe this is my 30th appearance on a conversation with Kely, so celebration.
Oh wow!
Yay.
If not, it was last time, and this is 31.
We love that.
I would like to thank co-host Ali Kossan for forcing Kevin into making me appear on here. And if people don't like my face, then don't watch. You know who you are. I know who you are.
We love
Sorry about it.
All right. We're gonna.
Well, I will just say we love having Mike on here.
Yes. We're gonna continue talking about.
We love that bad person who should not be near anything good or anything.
Yes, but you know what is good? The Circle. So let's.
It is good. Let's talk about the Circle,
you
baby.
make pizza while we're streaming. I don't know. The amount of Circle talk is not a lot from you, Mike.
Yes.
Frank invites Yuling and Rachel to a group chat, and in the hopes they are good. And Yuling takes this time to ask them for their true honesties about Nathan, and she's worried that the portrait that was drawn about her could have been from him.
Yeah.
Hold on. To piggyback on the Nathan on the pictures, can we talk about how scarily accurate? I forgot who drew Nathan's. Was it Euling?
I gotta look back.
I don't remember who did it, but can we talk about how scarily accurate that was?
It was Trevor.
Trevor.
No,
Okay.
Trevor.
No, Trevor did that split side by side thing. Can we talk about
that was so good.
That was scarily accurate.
Yeah,
we love
did
that.
a good job with that.
Like the fact that you could seeing Alex pull out that same shirt that he was drawn in.
Yeah,
was so funny.
I know.
And of course he has no way of knowing that, so it's that much funnier.
It's just so funny.
Yeah.
Rachel brings up that she's never really seen him as a catfish, but definitely feels like the way he talks is beyond his years.
Yes.
Frank then tells her about Nathan reaching out to discuss his portrait, and Yuling says she had her suspicions because she felt he was really smooth for a 20.
Oh
no.
Lost Allie.
I think her internet is acting up again because Tellus sucks. Because I've seen what she's been dealing with for like a couple months. But talking about Nathan again, I think seeing the suspicions that like Yuling has and things like that, Alex definitely did this move at the right time. Obviously, he had no way of knowing how Yuling's gonna feel, but obviously he had some suspicion, and I'm gonna agree with you, Kaci, that I think something that we've seen in season 2, especially upon thinking about it, a lot of those players, I think their biggest issue is that they wanted to be like super strategic about everything the entire time. And I think what Alex has done a good job with is he's known when he needs and needs not to be strategic. And I think that's what's gotten him that much farther in the game.
Yeah.
So
he can sense when he needs to pull the trigger and stuff. So I mean, he's doing what he can. I think that if he would have went in as himself, he would have been fine. But I think because he went in as Nathan, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, you know, he could have been himself.
Oh yeah, he definitely could have been himself. I just think it's been a much more enjoyable game to watch him being Nathan, having to have this like fake relationship with like Yuling and things like that. It's just been very entertaining. So.
I think because like he went in as Nathan, like straight as well.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go in as like a younger guy, go in as a gay guy.
Yeah. I mean, it worked for Lee, so
yeah.
That's definitely what to do. We gotta hopefully Allie comes back soon. Because we can't discuss much until she does, considering that she was reading the notes. But if anyone's watching, how are you doing? I hope it's a wonderful day. It's 11:55 at night, so I hope it's a good night. But if it's day, how's your day?
I'm
great.
Tired.
That's great.
I'm tired.
That we don't have. Chat in the meet. What the fuck did we chat about? How was everyone's days?
Woof. I've had a good day. I've worked all day, and
that's good.
Now I'm doing this.
That's good. I had a pretty chill day. I went to see Top Gun Maverick, which I'll give my review on at some point. It's a good film, I'll say that.
I have a watermelon I need to go cut up and put in the mason jars. Yeah. I'm really into like cold watermelon. Like whenever I wake up in the morning and I want breakfast, I just want some like really cold watermelon.
That actually sounds like a really good way to wake up.
It's great.
It's like the right amount of coldness you need to like, refresh.
I'm gonna throw a watermelon at you,
and
Kevin.
It's got like water in it, and it's like hydrating. It's just so good.
And melon.
I ordered like groceries from like Walmart grocery or whatever, and in the groceries, like I got like 2 bottles of witch hazel, and I'm like, what does this even do?
Oh wow.
Did you ever find out? What does it do?
It's supposed to help with like inflammation and stuff, like acne and stuff like that too. Like I don't know, but I got 2 bottles of that and then a bottle of baby powder. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? I'm like, someone's kid must have like something going on.
Yeah, definitely. But not as much going on as Allie's internet.
Tell us more.
Honestly.
And while you tell us more, give me more tell us.
Don't give me tell us, because
Sorry, what?
Are you a dog?
I'm a catfish.
Oh wow.
Blub blub meow. Blub blub meow.
That's great.
I'm gonna win the love of Jimmy's mom.
Anyway.
Come here, girl.
I mean, we could take the time right now to just talk about the gun laws in the United States needing to be
fix them.
Gun control.
Yes.
Joe Biden, do something.
Do something. Yes.
Well, we all need to do something realistically. Like we have a problem with these things just happening, and it's just normal. Like this is the third one this month.
Yeah.
We're talking about the first one was like an African American community, like a marketplace or some sort of like a store where multiple people were shot. Church, multiple people are shot. And then today, the latest tragedy, another school shooting with elementary children. And at first I was seeing the number of like 2 people shot. Then it went to 14. Now it's at 19, I believe. 19.
Yeah, it's increasing, unfortunately.
One adult, but then I think I just saw a post about a second adult. So, I mean, this is some serious stuff. I think that a lot of this, people say it's not the guns killing people, it's people. I'm like, no, it's people and guns. So that's gun reform that we need. And then we also need to make just like mental health more of a priority, like as you grow up, because you don't really hear about, I didn't really hear about mental health until I was like 16, 17. Like, I don't know that people are experiencing it. Like, it is not normal to wake up one day and shoot your grandma and do what this guy did.
Yeah.
And I truly think that some adolescent mental health resources, if he was like 5-6 years ago, could have prevented this.
Yeah, for sure. We all need to enact those laws, really care about people's mental health. All of that's very important, and we clearly have been overlooking it. So
yeah, like your right to bear arms is not as important as the thousands of shooting victims that we have every year.
Yeah, no, these people want to be pro-life, but when there's a shooting and they're pro-gun.
I mean, that's like a whole other thing. Like, all right, so you're going to control and make women have these babies and then let somebody go and do this to them every 10 years? Exactly. Or let them grow up and just let it happen on the daily. Like, it's really sad. And
I don't think it's about the children.
Nope.
That's the thing. It's like that's my whole thing with this whole overturning of Roe versus Wade too. Mm-hmm. Is it's really not about the children. They're lying to you.
No. It's about
it's about straight white cishet men.
Yeah.
Wanting full control over everything in this country, including bodies that don't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I may get off within like the next 10 minutes or so. I'm not sure.
Oh wow, it's midnight.
Yes, it is.
Happy finale night.
Yeah, the finale for both The Circle and Survivor is tonight, which will be exciting. Stay tuned for both of those because Allie and I have a bit of an announcement on them. So
I'm gonna using my phone until a connection comes back.
Okay, hopefully it's not.
And what announcement is that? Are you engaged? What is?
No, that's not the announcement.
Like literally, my internet's being so weird. It's like working on my phone fine. It's my computer.
That's annoying. Weird. Didn't they like just fix it too?
Yeah, it's probably I don't know. Maybe it's just like weather or something. That could be.
I guess, yeah. But anyway.
But anyways, what did you guys hear last?
It was about Yuling and like Nathan. And
you said 20-something-year-olds, maybe.
Oh yeah. Where it says
Yuling. Talking about Nathan.
Yeah, Yuling says she had her suspicions.
All right, I'm just using my phone so we can get this done.
Yeah, that's fair because I want to get this done.
All right.
That being said, all the stuff that we talked about is very important and much bigger than, some stupid reality show.
Yes.
So do your research. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Yuling says she had her suspicions because she felt he was really smooth for a 22-year-old. And super sweet in contrast with his frat boy profile.
Yes. Which is interesting to hear about from Yuling because it seems like before that, like there was no like hesitancy whatsoever. So it's funny to see like how quickly she has switched on like, yeah, he's coming after me. He's a catfish. Like.
Rachel says her experience talking to Nathan has been pleasant, but she doesn't know him the way they know him, which makes Yuling realize how little they actually know about him.
Yeah.
And Ling solidifies they are her ride or dies no matter what.
Which, I mean, they really have taken control of the game at this point, which I'm very much here for. And that's why, again, I stick by the move that Yuling made the right decision because the three of them are, like, unstoppable at this point.
Yeah, I actually really like them as an alliance.
Oh, I do too.
Same. They're a great alliance. Ali, is that a window in your background? Like, is it light outside where you're at?
It's still a little bit like, yeah.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Is that a Kelly Wentworth autograph in your background?
Time. What?
Is that a Kelly Wentworth autograph in your background?
It sure is.
Where'd that come from?
That somebody in this call got for me.
Where'd the folklore calendar come from?
Where'd that teddy bear come from?
That was also from me.
Where do you think the Wentworth autograph came from?
You. Anyway.
Bru makes a chat with Nathan and they talk about the portrait and asks him if he knows who painted it, and he doesn't really answer it and instead tells him he knows how he feels with people not seeing him for who he is. And Alex's Nathan then brings up Yuling and how she isn't a fake flirt at all, especially with how their relationship has gone. That was a crazy conversation.
Yeah, it was. Definitely.
He then re-asks the question and wonders if it could be Eversen or Trevor, and Bru makes it clear they don't really have his back.
And I love how Bru like literally wasn't answering the question at first, so Alex then like re-asked it. Again, it just shows, and Kaci, you were talking about this, it just shows how different like these two really are. Like Alex is like super strategic, and Bru like sucks at like just any strategy in general. He's just like very, very just like vibes.
Yeah, that's about it. He's got good energy and vibes, which is great at the beginning of the game, but you got to learn how to keep up with those social connections.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, baby. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, and I pegged that as a weakness for Bru like very early on, that like this was going to be a problem for him, and I think we definitely see that is very much the case.
Oh yeah. And Bru brings up how he needs to stick to his day ones, and while Alex feels bad about lying to Bru, he knows he needs to do what he can to win the game, which is true.
Oh yeah.
I love this next part.
Yes.
Everyone then receives messages from home, in which we get to see Season 2 winner Alyssa, as well as Nikki Rodriguez, who some of us know from a game we won't mention.
Yes, as
we've already mentioned it.
Yeah, so that part of the thing is null and void.
Yeah, that part is in parentheses.
I will say though, it was really fucking cool to see Nikki on screen, because it's like, oh my god, I've played with her before.
It was so cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
We
love seeing Delisa and all the kids as well. That was great.
Ugh, I love that so much.
Yes.
They then play a game called Thanksgiving, where they all indulge in eating tons of food, and to all talk about their messages.
This gave me very like penultimate episode of Big Brother, like let's talk about what we did throughout the season vibes, but no flashbacks. Like this is really fucking random.
I know. Frank then takes the time to let them know that in addition to losing his parents, he lost his grandmother a year ago, and his grandfather passed away right before he entered.
the circle, and although they have all had their ups and downs, he is truly grateful for this experience because he will never know when it will be his last.
Again, Frank's been through like so much, and I think just the fact that like he's such like a positive force like really just shows the kind of person that Frank is, and why I do think he has like massive potential to win the game because of it.
Oh yeah, I think so too. He also brings up how he wants to give Brew a second chance because he can't hold people accountable for what has happened in the past.
Which I think is really interesting to see. Like, I feel like we don't normally see that. It's like if someone wrongs you in a game, like they're like, especially in the circle, I feel like they're like really gung-ho about going for them. But Frank, like anytime something has happened where like somebody's targeting him or something like that, he always tries to find like some way to repair it. And I think that's like honestly really refreshing to see.
I love that, honestly.
Yeah. Like he doesn't let that affect his game too much.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shoot! I just lost the Google Doc since the connection's out.
Okay, it's fine. I'm reading the rest of it anyway. So they then all receive an alert and are told that tonight the lowest rated player will be blocked. And again, not really too much to say here. Brew does put Yuling at 1 and Eversen at 6. Eversen puts Imani at 1, Brew at 2, and Yuling at 6. Alex puts Rachel at 1 and Brew at 6. Rachel puts Frank at 1 and Imani at 2. Frank puts Yuling at 1 and Eversen at 5. And Yuling puts Frank at 1, Brew at 3, Nathan at 6. And Trevor does put Frank at 4. Again, not really a ton to talk about when it comes to this. So we'll move on. But they receive another alert that the official ratings are in, and the lowest rated player will be immediately blocked from the circle. They don't even get a chance to like make a decision here. That person is Brew. Brew does end up leaving, and I was not shocked about this at all. I don't think Brew has done a good job in this game, as we said. I just don't think he had much longevity, and I think his game ended.
Never mind, I got the doc back.
Okay,
it finally loaded.
I think Brew's game ended like the second that he got rid of Alyssa. I think if he had kept her around, he might have been able to have a bit more of a chance because that was someone that was really never going to turn on him. And I think the way that he, got her out and things like that, he did try to build some kind of connection with like Frank and Yuling, but I just don't think it was ever going to be as strong enough to like really get him far. I feel like Brew was always playing for someone that's like in the middle. He was never playing for the top. He was never bad enough to play at the bottom either. But after a certain point, it's like those middle players got to go. And I think that's why Brew does end up coming short here. So
I think he needs to individually message everybody how meaningful in the game they are to him. Not just two people, but like Rachel, Emerson, Imani. Like you really got to connect with those people. Like how are you going to chat with Emerson and Imani and also in chat with Frank and Yuling, and you don't manage to stay over Nathan,
like I really like Brew, but like he was just not very strategic, and he needed to be way better socially.
Yeah, for sure. He was a fun personality, but definitely not someone that I would say played a very good game. So he then does get to meet one person face to face. He does decide to meet Alex here, and we get a really fun moment where Alex does go ahead, tells him everything that he was under the assumption it would be either of them next, and then he brings up how game-oriented he is and that he wanted to downplay that in his profile. And Brew feels he has been playing the game too wholesomely, and that was the demise. And here's the thing. At least he recognizes that. That is something I respected. Brew recognized, yes, I've been playing too wholesome. I've been playing too much with my heart. And I think was entirely his problem, is that he just didn't have any sort of strategic backbone in him whatsoever. And I think I like that he like admits to that here. So Alex also lets him in on him doing Frank's painting while Brew did Rachel's, and his strategy is to go into the finale being the lowest level threat and for no one to know what Nathan is doing. He shows him his board and all the strings that he has drawn to everyone, and he then tells him about the lie that he told Frank and that he had him on the top of his ratings every single time, but felt he had to do something. And Alex loves that Brew has such a good spirit about this, and Brew tells him he's pulling for him to win it all, like Alyssa did for him. Again,
I really enjoyed this meetup. It was just like he like really got to know.
It was like an onion layer with him telling him stuff. He was like,
like
okay,
really...
man, I ranked you last. I'm
but
sorry.
Also...
And he's like, all right, now don't hit me about this one. Like 2 minutes later, when they're looking at the board, he's like, I told Frank.
Like,
Brew is just so okay with all of it.
Brew's just like watching his game unfold, like how it did, but at least he got some closure.
Literally, like in this meetup, Brew is so happy. Like he was just like,
oh, I'm sure he gets to go hang out with Alyssa now.
He's like, he was like, you played me, but he was like so happy, so okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this was a really really fun meetup, I think. So they receive another alert. It's revealed that tonight is actually going to be a double blocking, and the 2 rated players are then going to become the super secret influencer. Mm-hmm. That person is notified immediately, who turns out to be Frank, and he's told.
That's pretty typical because like Frank basically had the winner edit.
Oh yeah, I would say so. Him and Yuling have had like winner edits for the most part.
For sure.
So he's told that he now has to choose who he wants to save and who he wants to block, and they will never reveal his identity. And this was a nice little twist. And I was wondering what they were going to do, because normally it's like you block someone in person, but they did that super early on this season. So I didn't really know what they were going to do in terms of this. I thought this was a really cool idea. Like you get to choose, like
you get to snipe someone, you know?
Yeah, you literally get to choose who makes the finale. It's like, I like that a lot, actually. So he weighs through all of his options, talking about how he's played a genuine game and hasn't been that strategic, which is what's gotten him in this position. But this could be the time for him to take someone out who's a big threat to win. They're then told that the players who survive will become finalists, and those players are, well, of the ones we hear.
Like in order?
Rachel, Trevor, and Frank, obviously. Then there are only 2 spots left, with either Eversen, Yuling, or Nathan going home. Yuling is the next to make it, and the last spot will be revealed on next week's finale. We do not know who he ends up picking here. Adds a nice little suspense to what's going on. Now, if I had to make a prediction, I think he's going to snipe Nathan. I don't think there's any real reason for him to get rid of Eversen here. So,
but he did say something at the end. He said, I need to take out... He was like, I'm going to vote out somebody who would rank a little bit higher. And that's my only inkling that he might block him or something.
I feel like
that's true.
It may be smarter to go for Nathan here, but like Nathan, I think, deserves it more. Like Eversen done some work, but game-wise, Nathan deserves it more. Well, Alex. So like, I don't know. Maybe he'll make it. Maybe he'll do that.
Like, all right, question of the day, audience. Who do you think it's going to be? I do honestly think it could be. I'm leaning towards Nathan myself.
Well, yeah.
But
it could
based on Imani being safe, I would say Nathan is probably gonna go.
Yeah.
But the one thing, like, you need to take a shot at somebody here. Like, he should have taken out Rachel.
I think he should have taken out Yuling.
No, I don't think Yuling wins. I think he should have taken out Rachel. That's the only other person that I think could potentially slip through the cracks and take a dub.
Yeah.
Because she's also got a really good at it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She
has.
So it's certainly possible that could happen. I think he's probably going to take the shot at Nathan, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. Because this is really the first time, like Frank has said, like he's had to be like really strategic, and I'm hoping he's going to make the right move here. But yeah, like we said with the finale, I think the winner is going to be one of the 3 people that we've said. I think it's going to be either Frank, Yuling, or Rachel. Casey's pretty confident in Rachel, and all I will say is that if Rachel wins, the first thing I'm going to do is message Casey and be like, you were fucking right. Like, why
like you're a crackhead? Like,
by the way,
like, how did you know?
Oh, by the way, I restarted my computer and my internet worked, so.
Yes, we love that.
So I'm rejoining.
So we have 2 rallies now. Now we have 1 ally.
One was bad enough.
No.
Oh my god, I literally was like on my phone and it was like vertical video.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that's how phones work. Congratulations.
That was funny. But no, I'm very excited to see how this finale goes down. I think we have the potential for probably the best finale that we've gotten within the circle, especially with how much there is to talk about, how much went down this season.
I might fast forward just to the end. So
yeah,
I'm not doing.
I did that last season because I just didn't care. Like I literally skipped to the end at first and I saw James win.
This season is definitely going to be more of a nail biter, but I think if Nathan goes, it's a pretty clear shot for Rachel to win.
Yeah,
I can see Rachel winning, but like I don't know. I feel like Frank and Yuling have the bigger shot. But
yeah,
but I think that they're going to get tanked. I think that like the remaining players are going to tank them. Like Eversen, Imani will tank them.
So I really think it depends on how everybody rates, because you look at season 2 where everybody was rating pretty much like who they wanted to see win if it's not them. And then you had Courtney being strategic. And then you had season 3 where I feel like everybody rated strategically. So I don't really know what's going to happen this season. I think it's really dependent on how
it might be a good mix, which means it's Rachel winning.
That's true. We'll see.
No one's gonna see her. No one's gonna put her low.
I mean, I'd be here for Rachel winning. Like she was.
Oh yeah. I think she's played a really strong game for sure, and one that people aren't seeing. So I could definitely see that potentially happening. And I think if Rachel wins, like she's definitely a really great fucking winner. So before we do close things out here, though, we're gonna give both of our guest co-hosts and our guest a chance to speak. So Mike, go right ahead.
1 minute. Where is it?
Wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Here's my final words. Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Wonderpuff Games.
Yes.
Listen, you little snot goblin. I had farts that made a bigger impact on the.
Not that.
For starting shit with the host, you rightfully deserved it. Now you want to play this game like a little internet troll? Wake up and smell the roses. You got rightfully outed, and now you're pissed at us for calling you out. Kiss my fat white ass.
I love John. I already know what that's from.
Yes, we do love John. And by John, we are not talking about John from the circle. We do love that.
Talking about our favorite bully, John Farrell.
John Farrell.
Amazing.
And now let's bring on our other favorite bully.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at @TheRealityKaci. I have been doing some Big Brother podcast with our reality. So usually Fridays we've been doing I think it was, what was it called? Hold on.
That's how the Brand Steel one you guys did.
Yeah, the Brand Steel. Oh my god. Imagine. But yeah, I mean that was a really fun time. So catch me doing it this Friday again.
Yes, definitely check out our reality. Lots of fun stuff going on over there. But yeah, other than that, that's it for.
Oh wait, did you were saying you were mentioning that we no,
we're gonna do that on the finale.
No. Finale of what?
Of the circle and also Survivor. We'll talk about it.
We could do it now.
I mean, we can, but like.
I mean, I don't even know who's even watching anyway, because there's only like one person watching.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to make the announcement when more people are watching, because it's
You'll have to tell me the goss after this.
Oh no. Well, yeah, we'll discuss. It's not a big deal. We'll discuss.
Is it the Orlando trip?
No, it's not that. We'll discuss it after.
It's just something to do with our podcast.
Yeah, but anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
You're firing Kevin?
We'll see you guys. Yes, in our next video. I mean, we'll see you guys for that. Okay.
Are we gonna recap The Apprentice?
No.